You see, a while back, we started using this terminology of not just being Christians, because that word had become somewhat tainted in our culture, but to be genuine Christ followers. And if we're actually going to do that, if we're actually going to follow Christ, it requires of us, of you and me, to enter into the messes of people's lives, even though our lives aren't totally figured out. A lot of times our lives are more figured out than our friends who are struggling without Jesus. And so we say, we want to enter into the mess, even though I know that by entering into the mess, some of the messiness of their life is going to get on me, and I have to be okay with that. Don't miss next week. Next week, we're actually going to talk about the idea of how to get messy without getting stained. It's a big deal, because normally we fail in one of two areas. We either choose not to get involved in someone's life, and we mess up, or we get involved so much in someone's life that we don't really help them out, but they actually bring us down. We have to be careful not to do either one of those, but to enter into people's mess, to address the mess of their life, and to continue to build into them and to help grow them up and help them be discipled in who Jesus is. And here's the thing, that's for every one of us. It's not just for pastors, it's not just for leaders. It's at the moment that we choose to follow Jesus. Today in the first service, we celebrate baptism. In the second service, we're celebrating a couple of baptisms. It's about a changed life that takes place. And as soon as that happens, if nothing else, we have the power of our story to say, this is who I used to be, this is who I am now. And the change is nothing short of a miracle. So Jesus enters into this, and he says, I want us to be about this messy life. I want us to be about seeking people out. In fact, there needs to be proximity, because this is a big deal. Growth is accomplished only where proximity is allowed. Growth is accomplished in our life only where proximity is allowed. Now, for every one of us, we can have a season of growth where we don't have to have people close to us. We can go a short season and say, I can do this myself. I can bring about change. And for a short season, that works. For a short season, in fact, I've seen it before where people kind of get clouded down with too many relationships, and they get kind of encumbered by those things. And once they free themselves of certain relationships, they say, I'm actually doing better now, and I'm growing, and I'm changing. But those seasons tend to be very short-lived. And growth is only accomplished for the long term, where proximity is allowed. If that's true for us, then it's also true for the other people we come in contact with.